Cannabis Stay in the Know highlights what is happening in the legal use of medicinal and recreational cannabis. By no means am I encouraging anyone to use cannabis or any of its byproducts. Whether you use cannabis or its byproducts should be based on the laws of the country you are using it in to determine the legality of its use. If it can be used legally, you should find out whether the permitted use is medicinal and or recreational and where it can be used. Persons often assume that the use of cannabis is legal in Jamaica. This is not so. In fact, the general and open use of cannabis is not permitted. A few years ago, there was a change to the law where the use of cannabis was decriminalized, meaning there's a particular amount of cannabis you can be found with for which you will generally not be imprisoned, but will be required to pay a fine. So moving on to today's Stay in the Know. You may have heard of cannabis having various strains. The two main types of cannabis plant are the cannabis sativa and the cannabis indica. They are biochemically distinct and also have their own strains. The cannabis sativa plant is associated with feeling high and mental euphoria, while the cannabis indica is known for relaxing or soothing the body and is used for medicinal purposes such as pain relief. Oftentimes, in everyday conversation, persons seek to classify cannabis plants based on height, branching, or leaf features. However, the only proper way to classify a plant would be to conduct a biological assay, considering there are over 500 different chemical substances in the plant. The biological assay is particularly important with the prevalence of interbreeding or hybridization. This biological assay will reveal the concentration of cannabinoid and terpenoid in the plant. Well, what are those? Cannabinoid collectively refers to the chemical substances found in the plant. Terpenoids are the aromatic substances found in the plant. The two main types of cannabinoids are THC and CBD. These two abbreviations have been circulating often these days, including on product packaging. But what are they? CBD, this stands for cannabidiol and refers to the non-intoxicating component of cannabis. It is often promoted for the control of anxiety, depression, and as a non-psychoactive. THC, this refers to tetrahydrocannabinol. This is the psychoactive component of cannabis. Cannabis has been gaining traction for legislative approval for recreational use, including consumption. However, to ensure that you are operating in keeping with the law, there are other distinctions you should bear in mind. For example, in California in the United States, CBD is allowed in food, beverages, and dietary supplements sold there. The catch is the CBD must be derived from hemp, which, like marijuana, is a strain of the cannabis sativa plant. So what's the difference between hemp and marijuana? The difference is based in the concentration of THC. Hemp has 0.3% THC or less, while marijuana has more than 0.3% THC. For demonstration purposes, I will refer to a cannabis company. I'm not endorsing the company and I'm not affiliated with the company. So if you're familiar with the boxer Mike Tyson, you might have heard of him biting the ear of another boxer. Perhaps assuming for some, he has now launched cannabis gummies called Mike Bites, which might be found interesting. Earlier I mentioned scientific names for various strains of cannabis. However, they tend to also have street names, which are used on the boxer's website. I chose to use this company as an example because the site provides details of the strains being sold. On your screen is a snippet from the website showing products with different street names. Now, on your screen is the details of what is described as the tiger mint. The description tells you the concentration of THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, and CBD, cannabidiol. The plant source is from the indica family, and the scent from the terpenoids is described as a rich, crisp mint flavor and incorporates notes of earth, coffee, and cookies. You might have realized now that the chemical makeup of any cannabis plant is not simple, which is partly why countries have restricted its use. There is often public debate about why individual countries have not declared cannabis to be fully legal. However, some countries, such as Jamaica, are a part of an international legal framework which places restrictions on its use. We won't explore the international legal framework in this video, but hope to do so in another one, especially with the United States of America allegedly being expected to pass federal legislation legalizing the use of cannabis. I've not been able to find details on the extent of the expected legalization at this time. This expectation falls to the United States Senate having passed legislation entitled Cannabidiol and Marijuana Research Expansion. Stay tuned for more legal cannabis. Stay in the know. That is it for today. And until next time, be wise and stay safe.